Infrastructure, the lifeblood of the rural economy. Electricity to power homes, commerce, and industry. Water to nourish both animals and people. Communications that link the residents of rural America to each other and the global marketplace. These essential services are bridging the gap between rural and urban America.
The rural economy is the base for all of the economy. It has the agriculture, it has fishing, it has timber, it has mining, it has energy. This is the basis of any true economy. And without infrastructure, none of those businesses could exist in the form they are today.
Today, most people take the convenience of modern infrastructure for granted. But longtime residents of rural America can still remember what life was like without it.
Back in the 1930s, before electricity was available, life was extremely hard here. Being a farming community, they were up at sunrise, worked till sunset. Everything was manual. It's hard for us to kind of picture that, I think, today.
Our well was a hard water well. It was 375 feet deep. The water was so hard it would nearly stand without a glass. We had a cistern up by the house for drinking water. We actually took rainwater and through a filtering system and drank that.
The telephone reduced travel a lot, but without the internet and the mobile phone, information just flowed a lot slower. And you would wait for the newspaper to come out or to give you the markets.
Can you imagine just having to grow everything that you eat, not having a refrigerator that you could store things in to keep it fresh, with no electricity, no running water in lots of cases, no communication? You had to really plan ahead in order to survive in rural America.
Today, cooperatives and other infrastructure providers deliver vital services that support American agriculture and other key sectors of the rural economy.
I think the connectivity that Pioneer Communications provides to our customers allows our customers to be much more efficient. It allows our customers to accomplish a lot more. It allows our customers to spend less time with their business and more time with their families.
We all carry a mobile phone, and we have it hooked into our irrigation system, so if a well goes down or if a sprinkler stops, we're notified immediately. The internet, a lot of business is conducted over that.
I've got some dairy farms now that are milking 200 and 300 head of cattle several times a day. Impossible without electricity.
There's documented proof that in certain areas where the quality of the water, the prior quality of the water had been bad, where when they bring in rural water, the livestock gains pounds per day has increased. And in the hog operations, feeder pigs, the small pigs, are real susceptible to disease and fevers and things like that. Once they've gone on rural water, you decrease the mortality rate, you increase the production rate, you decrease the length of time that it takes for those hogs to get to market.
Infrastructure is absolutely vital for the growth of businesses. The kinds of efficiencies gains that are being generated by our customers is really quite dramatic, and is completely transformed the productivity levels in the agricultural economy.
It's not just businesses that are supported by infrastructure, it's also people. Rural infrastructure providers bridge the gap between urban and rural communities, delivering modern conveniences and a high quality of life.
Back in the day before electricity and other rural services, really they were living in the dark ages out in the country. And the folks in the city had a big advantage over us in that aspect. Now we're part of the small world instead of on the outside looking in.
I think rural infrastructure has done a really great job of providing the same opportunities in rural America that you find in urban America.
If you've got a young person who's considering a career in agriculture, he's going to want to have the same quality of life that someone in the city does today.
When people have access to clean water, dependable and reliable power, and strong communication systems and broadband, they are able to get the same type of lifestyle they would have if they lived in an urban environment.
Rural infrastructure providers are investing heavily in the future. They are upgrading facilities and launching new products and services in order to better serve their customers and remain competitive in the market.
We've made a pretty significant investment in system automation. And now when there's an outage, something happens, a tree falls, a car hits a pole, whatever it may be, these devices actually talk to each other today, and they reroute power automatically. So if we have an outage that may take 1,000 people it put them in the dark. These devices, within a matter of seconds, can restore 800 people's power and isolate the actual outage down to the area where our crew would need to respond and actually make a physical repair out there.
It is absolutely clear that my members want Wright-Hennepin to be involved somehow in solar and other renewable energy. And we've got to deliver that to them, because if we don't do it, somebody else is going to.
I think that the future really holds an immense amount of data, and an immense amount of data that we're going to be sending over a connected world. So what we're really looking to do here at Pioneer is build the backbone necessary, and we have to have the quality of service that our customers frankly have come to expect and depend on.
We're always looking for ways to improve the customer service. Online bill payment is something we're currently looking at. I expect we'll have that within the next 12 months. We're just always looking for different ways to become innovative and to provide better customer service.
As one of the largest lenders to the rural infrastructure sector, CoBank is committed to providing credit and other financial services these businesses need in order to remain successful.
CoBank's very important to the financial infrastructure for these borrowers, and that we can finance on the short term, we can finance on the long term, and we provide credit across a variety of these industries for a variety of purposes.
CoBank has been here for a long time. The Farm Credit System has been here for nearly 100 years. We are here forever, effectively, for our customers, and they can take comfort and confidence in the strength not only of our financial resources, but our human capital, our intellectual capital, the knowledge that we're going to be here for a long, long time, and we're big enough and strong enough to do any kind of transaction that they need us to do. And we think that's a powerful combination that should stand in good stead with our customers.
At first, I remember not having any street lights, and then we got a hold of, there was some street lights installed, and there was probably 20 street lights in the whole town, and they were in 60-watt bulbs, and they were mounted on poles that were cut over here in the Capitan Mountains. And every day, Antone Vega was a citizen here, and he'd get up and ride all around town on a horse and turn the lights off. And he'd ride around in the evening and on his horse and turn the lights on.
No, other than it stopped the coal oil lamps and things like that and lanterns. This is something that we all should appreciate. Back in them days, it wasn't too good.
I remember first time I got electricity, I lived up on the Ouachita in a trailer house, and it cost me $4 a month.
Well, yeah, it's just about the whole thing about it was just, it was unbelievable. It was so good and so wonderful. And then we could have a washer that we didn't have to keep running out of gas and have to put some more in.
The cooperative was incorporated in 1939. And if you think back about 1939, there was no television, no telephone, not much way to communicate. And I always reveled in how they got people together in those days, enough people to form the cooperative. And remember real well when we first got electricity. Thelma told the story about, you tell it about what Mother said to Dad. Or Dad said to Mother, however it was.
Well, when they said, well, it's hooked up now, it's ready to go, and he said, I'll let you throw the switch, Ma. So you turn it on. So she turned on the light, and that's the first electricity that they had.
The first thing was to get power into people's houses. And of course, I was one of the first, because my husband was the boss, you might say, of distribution.
Being able to see at night, read a book.
And I remember the first ice box that Mama got, that was great. And I guess that was probably the first thing that we got for her was an ice box.
Probably a refrigerator, freezer. Mom had an electric mixer, a great big electric mixer. Had a big bowl.
You can remember?
It would have been probably a refrigerator, but it could have been a washer. I don't know for sure which we had first.
Okay.
At the Crosley, and there's only one burner that doesn't work. Yeah, it was a good appliance. Good. Now to quit tomorrow.
Don't remember, but it might have been a kitchen range.
Kitchen range? Okay.
Because up until that time, we had to get wood from somewhere.
In the late 40s, the railroad also had the generation in the town of Capitan. They had a railroad up there, they hauled coal out of Capitan. And they had transferred that distribution system and the generator to the town of Capitan. There was a municipal utility in effect. And so sometime in the late 40s, Capitan came to the cooperative and wanted to know if they'd take that over too, which we ultimately did. And that required building a transmission line from the Hollywood station, that old 34-5 line. It went down the Hondo, up Devil's Canyon, and into Capitan. That gave Capitan a firm source of power. One of the interesting things about that Capitan deal was the whole generator was housed in a sheet metal building right on the main street. And of course that went with the acquisition. The co-op owned that building, Steel Mason. We don't own it now, but owned it for a long time. We used it for a warehouse. Those generators were in there for a long time. They finally sold them for scrap. But when they got that Capitan system, we still were running the generators. And there was a young fella sleeping in the back of that power plant. I don't think he was an orphan, but that's where he stayed. And he cleaned up around there. They let him stay there. And I think he probably tended to the generators at night. And that's where we got Buddy Guthrie. Buddy just went to work for the co-op and that's the only job he ever had till he retired. Wow.
We all should be thankful that we got electricity.
The cost of everything has gone up dramatically over the last 75 years. With one exception. Keeping electricity affordable. That's the power of your co-op membership. Learn more at togetherwesave.com.